I knew something was wrong the moment her laughter stopped sounding like it belonged to me. We were sitting at the long wooden dining table during her family's monthly get-together. One of those nights where everyone tried a little too hard to pretend we were one big happy clan. Glasses clinked. Conversations overlapped. And in the middle of it all, Emma, my wife, leaned back in her chair, smirked at her cousins, and said the words that would split my world open. Honestly, I regret marrying him every day. The table erupted in laughter. My breath didn't. Her eyes flicked to me, expecting me to smile, play along, be the easygoing husband who let her jokes slide. The role I'd been filling for 8 years. But something in me snapped, quietly, like the soft crack of a twig beneath a boot. I looked at her, held her gaze, and said calmly, "So do I." Her smile fell. The laughter stopped as if someone had cut a string. And for the first time in months, I felt the truth settle heavy and cold inside my chest. Something had been off with Emma. The late-night work calls, the sudden weekend outings with her friends, the way she guarded her phone like it was a wounded bird only she could protect. But I didn't want to believe it. I told myself marriage had seasons, that she was stressed, that we'd reconnect. But in that moment, her face draining of color, I knew. She wasn't mine anymore. Maybe she hadn't been for a long time. The cracks before the shatter. That night I barely spoke as we drove home. Emma tried. "Come on, Noah. It was a joke. You know I didn't mean it like that." I stared ahead at the empty road. "Why'd you say it then?" She exhaled loudly, annoyed instead of apologetic. "It's just banter. You always overthink things. Always overthink. Always too sensitive. Always my fault." Classic deflection. I'd spent years shrinking myself so she could feel bigger, flattering her when she was insecure, apologizing when she snapped, chasing her emotional storms like a man convinced he could calm the weather. But lately, she didn't want calming. She just wanted distance. When we got home, she went straight to the bedroom, muttering about being tired. I stayed in the dark living room, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the hollow beat of my heart. Something inside me whispered, "Check the phone." Hated that voice. Distrusting her felt wrong. But trusting her, blindly, stupidly, felt worse. I went to bed later than usual. She was already asleep, her phone resting on the nightstand. My hand hovered over it for a long moment, trembling. Then I picked it up. No password change. Not yet. I opened her messages. And there it was. A thread named "Work Team Late Shift." Except the messages weren't work-related. They weren't professional. They were intimate. "Wish you were here instead of stuck with him tonight." Don't say that face with tears of joy, but yeah, I wish that too. My stomach twisted as I scrolled. Pictures. Flirty emojis. Plans. Late night thinking of you messages. And the one that landed like a punch to the ribs. Sometimes I imagine what life would be like if I had chosen you instead. No regrets. No regrets. Except the ones she joked about at the dinner table, me. The phone slipped from my hand. I stared at the ceiling, a numbness spreading through my chest so hollow it scared me. I didn't wake her. I didn't yell. I didn't demand answers. Instead, I lay beside her in silence, knowing the woman sleeping inches from me had already left. Revelation in the morning light. Emma woke early, stretching lazily as sunlight poured in. She turned to me, smiling faintly, as if last night hadn't happened. But then she saw the phone on my side of the bed. Saw the open messages. Her face changed instantly. "Noah, I can explain." I didn't raise my voice. "Then explain," she stammered. "It's just emotional support. Friend. Someone to talk to when I'm stressed. A friend you tell you wish you were with instead of me." She opened her mouth, closed it, looked away. My throat tightened. "How long, Emma?" Silence. "How long?" "A few months," she whispered. I felt myself break. Quietly, painfully, the way a bone snaps beneath the skin. I sat on the edge of the bed, hands over my face, trying to breathe. She reached for me, but I pulled away. For the first time in years, I didn't want her touch. Noah, it wasn't physical, she blurted. I looked at her. Do you want me to thank you for that? Her eyes filled with tears. I messed up, okay? I was lonely, felt ignored. And he made me feel seen. I nearly laughed. Ignored. I spent years chasing after every emotional shadow she cast. I gave her everything: time, effort, affection, patience. But someone else said good morning beautifully. And suddenly I wasn't enough. Do you love him? Yes. She hesitated 1 second too long. And that was my answer. The slow unraveling. We didn't separate immediately. Marriage doesn't dissolve like sugar in water. It rots slowly, piece by piece. Days passed in a suffocating quiet. We lived in the same house but moved like ghosts, avoiding eye contact, speaking only when necessary, sleeping with oceans between us. She apologized often, cried, promised. But apologies don't unbreak bones. And promises don't resurrect trust. One evening, she stood in the doorway while I packed a small overnight bag. Noah, are you leaving me? I zipped the bag calmly. I don't know. Tears streamed down her face. I'm trying. I really am. I ended it with him. Did you tell him why? She swallowed hard. I told him we needed space. So you didn't end it. Her silence told the truth. I walked past her. She grabbed my arm. I regret it, okay? I regret hurting you. I looked at her, really looked. Do you regret him? Her lips parted, then tightened. Again she said nothing. And that silence was my final clarity. The breaking point. 3 weeks later, I returned home to find her in the kitchen, holding a small box. I made a mistake, she said softly. I want us back. I want to fix this. I leaned against the counter. Why now? Because I realized I was losing you, she whispered. Because I realized what matters. But you didn't realize it when you were laughing at me in front of your family. Or when you were texting him at midnight. Or when you chose him over and over. She flinched. The box trembled in her hands. Please don't throw this away. And for a moment, just one, my heart ached for the version of us I used to believe in. The version before betrayal hollowed us out. I took a deep breath. I can't make you choose him or me. I choose you, she said quickly. I shook my head. No, Emma. You already chose. 1,000 times in 1,000 small ways. Even if you cut him off now, it's too late. Not because I don't love you, but because the man who trusted you isn't here anymore. Her knees buckled and she sank into a chair, sobbing. But I didn't move to comfort her. Not this time. The final scene. The day I left for good, the house felt strangely peaceful. My bag was packed. My heart, quieter than it had been in months. Emma stood by the doorway, eyes red, breathing uneven. Noah, she whispered. Tell me something before you go. Pause. When I joked that I regretted marrying you, she swallowed. Did you mean it when you said you regretted it too? I met her eyes, broken, desperate, still somehow hoping. Yes, I said softly. But not because I didn't love you. I regret marrying someone who chose to love me only when it was convenient. She let out a soft, wounded sound. I stepped outside. The cold air hit my face, crisp and clean. Behind me she called out, voice cracking. I'm sorry, Noah. Please come back. I didn't turn around. Some things hurt more when you look at them. As I walked down the driveway, the weight of betrayal lifted in small pieces. Not gone, not healed, but finally moving. Sometimes love ends with shouting. Sometimes with silence. And sometimes it ends the moment a joke stops being funny.